All right, so for our next session, which is discussing research opportunities that are available in ECD and other histiocytosis, I would like to invite our panelists again, Dr. Diamond, Dr. Abekun, Dr. Colin, up here. And we'll be going over some of the research studies that are open here and nationally, globally, and how you can participate in those research studies, and that will be followed by Q&A session. Okay. So first we'll dive into what we call as therapeutic clinical trials. Clinical trials are a type of research study where a drug is being tested in ECD or other cancer, and it has to be done in a very rigorous manner. So here, Dr. Abekun has put together a very nice table that consists of all studies that we know are available and open for histiocytic neoplasms, histiocytosis in adults. And this information, please note, this website, it's public information, so you should all be able to access this. And I would encourage you to check this out because these keep evolving as new trials are being opened in histiocytosis. So I'll lead with, so the first two studies are open at Mayo. Dr. Abekun, do you want to say something about those two studies? Is the virotherapy and the selinexor one, are they still open?
Yeah, actually, the virotherapy one is open. That is...
Button.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. So the viral therapy one is open. That is open for accrual for patients. But the selinexor study is closed. It has completed its accrual, and at the moment we have two studies open. One is Dr. Diamond's study, and the other one is ours at Mayo that we will talk about later.
Yeah, okay. So the viral therapy, that sounds very interesting. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Do people have to travel there, and what does it cover that, or?
Yeah, so this, unfortunately, it is not mandatorily covered the travel cost, but it is the studies are designed for T-cell lymphoma patients mainly, but Nora Binani is the principal investigator of the trial, and she does have an arm for patients with histiocytic cancers like Erdheim-Chester, Langerhans Cell, Rosai-Dorfman Disease. And we have enrolled about 3 patients over the last 3 years or so. And with that, we have achieved, some patients achieved a partial response as the best right now. But I cannot speak towards exactly because the study is ongoing, and I cannot also speak towards the adverse effects so far as well. It's not mature enough. But it is basically, theory is that there is a genetically modified virus that is put into the tumor, and then the virus destroys the tumor. That is mainly the mechanism. And so that is open at the moment but we cannot, unfortunately, there is no guarantee for travel or logistics because it's an early phase clinical trial.
And while you're at it, we have a different study that you are leading. Is the doesn't roll off my tongue. I think edrixatinib. It's a triple inhibitor. That study is open at Mayo, and we are planning to open it at UAB.
Yes, that study is open. It opened on October 2025. It is also a phase 1 study. So far, we have accrued about 4 patients with histiocytic malignancies, tolerating treatment so far very well. And it is open. It is going to open at Dr. Goyal's supervision in University of Alabama as well. That is also an early phase trial, so no travel reimbursement, but the rest, the drug and the care is under the study, so it won't be charged. Yeah. And this is an oral pill that will be, you have to come to the center monthly, but it is not a chemotherapy. It's not through your veins, it's through your mouth, oral pill that you will take 7 days on, 7 days off. And so far, patients have been tolerating this very well.
Great. And to give background on phases of study, phase 1 study usually is when you try to first figure out if a new drug is safe. And of course, along the same lines, you're trying to figure out if it is effective. But then when you test it in a few number of patients or subjects, if it is found to be safe and there's some signal of efficacy or effectiveness, you open the study then to phase 2 level. You have to find the right dose first. So that's the stage of this study. Next, I'll turn it over to Dr. Colin. I think that's you're leading this study, or you're part of the study of dabrafenib and trametinib in UK. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So this is the study's called Determine, and it's a basket study. But I think they call it like a multi-hit basket study. So it's essentially a drug repurposing study. So where there are targeted drugs for mutations, but you have a less common cancer with that mutation, you can join the study. It will be phase 2 study. It's not randomized. You would have to travel to the UK. But it would be free.
And you don't pay for it.
It would be free when you get there. And the cool thing about it is it's linked to the purchaser. So drugs that have efficacy in this study will automatically be funded. So vemurafenib and Kobe have gone through.
Okay.
And recruited and closed. There were a couple of histio patients on that. Okay. And now dabrafenib and trametinib is in. So the manufacturers are kind of lined up to join. As one arm closes, another one opens. So.
Okay, great, thank you. So this is specifically for folks with BRAF V600E mutation, is that correct?
Yeah, this would be one of the 6 arms.
6 arms, yeah. Okay. And this is a combination of BRAF and MEK inhibitors. So of course, very interesting to try to study this on a trial, how it works and what are the side effects and so forth. Next, I'll put Dr. Diamond on the spot to talk about the mirdametinib and ulixertinib studies. I can even pull your slides here if you want to talk about the ulixertinib one.
Sure. So the ulixertinib is an ERK inhibitor, and so ERK is kind of one step down the signaling pathway after MEK, like the MEK inhibitors. And using an ERK inhibitor, that came to a concept when there was an observation that some patients with ECD and LCH had resistance to the MEK inhibitors because of some certain resistant mutations. And the ERK inhibitor sort of being further down the road, there's been some experience that there's been responses in instances of resistance to the MEK inhibitors. So this study is based at MSK, but open at Mayo Clinic and here at UAB. And it is for pretty much anyone, any histiocytic neoplasm with an active PET. So whether that is because the disease is not responding or is just persistent despite prior or current treatment, or intolerance of prior treatment, then all of those would render someone eligible. The study may evolve to actually allow this treatment to be first treatment as well. That may be coming soon. So you can enroll for that at any of these 3 sites, and I'm happy to answer questions about that an hour later.
And mirdametinib is another name that rolls off the tongue.
So mirdametinib is, we think, a very fully brain-penetrant MEK inhibitor. And so this is specifically for patients with neurologic or ocular, meaning the eye, ECD or other histiocytosis. And as opposed to the ERK inhibitor, which is eligibility requires having an active PET, this is really more loose. You can have an active PET or disease by MRI or impairments of speech or balance or mobility. Any of those would be eligible, and that is at MSK only. Since it is an approved drug, just not for histiocytosis, the visit schedule is a little looser than the sort of rigid every 28 days, but not much looser.
Okay. I have to say, this slide is very encouraging. 5-10 years ago, imagining that many number of trials for adult histiocytosis would be unthinkable. So this is very exciting time, I think, when we are trying to figure out ways to treat it, treat the disease. There are also some other trials that are open. There is a NACHO-COBE study that is through the NACHO Consortium, North American Consortium for Histiocytosis. That's ongoing at several sites. And then there is a study in Texas, and then 2 in China. The China studies, both of them are using this, what we call as immunomodulators, lenalidomide and thalidomide. That's become an area of investigation, but that's not in ECD. So there are some data that they may work in LCH and Rosai-Dorfman disease. But these are all the trials I could find, and I would encourage you to take a picture of it, or we'll circulate these slides to you if you don't have them already, because this is very important information to have. And I think now we will switch to non-interventional trials or studies where you can participate from wherever you are. So I think there are 2 such studies we need to talk about. One is from Dr. Diamond. I don't know if you're comfortable talking from there, or you want to come here.
I'm just taking in what I wrote there. So, I think we know that a certain proportion of ECD and other histiocytosis patients, just no matter how hard we look, we don't find the mutation, and we sort of are left with this question of, is it not there, or is it not tested, or are the tests not sensitive enough? And so we're working on a variety of both more sensitive tests and sort of testing outside of the gene panel. So if this is an invitation, if having a mutation would affect your care and you need a biopsy, then there's a lot that we can do with fresh tissue. So that's my only pitch.
And that's in Dr. Diamond's freezer right now there, right?
In the basement, yeah.
In the basement. Okay. No, thank you. Now, this is very exciting. So, it provides access to mutational testing free of cost to the,
Yeah, I mean, the biopsy would need to be done as standard of care, but all the research testing would be covered.
And the folks, the patients or, who enroll, they do get the report back from this, or is that on your end, on the back end?
It's something to talk about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to, Dr. Collin, did you want to say anything else about the Determine study?
I think I covered most of it.
Okay, just wanted to make
Given there won't be too many participants in this room, but
you never know, it's being recorded, so they might.
yeah, hopefully when it goes out, but yeah.
Okay, one other study I wanted to talk about, especially because it's been heavily supported, both because by funding, but also the collaboration with the ECDGA, is the survivorship study, and just giving you updates on that. A lot of you may have heard of it. If you have not, this is a good time to get plugged in. And really, as we had discussed earlier, my focus is a lot in how cancer and its treatments affect people in the long term. When I say long term, I mean 10, 20 years down the road, and including how somebody feels, how somebody functions, how someone's health conditions evolve, heart conditions, lung conditions, infections, and so forth. So I still think, as was asked, there was a question asked during the panel earlier, that there are gaps in understanding the very long-term effects, especially chronic health conditions. And we are now learning about the symptomatology, about fatigue and cognitive impairments, but what happens in the long run is still a gap, especially in a large study. And there are, this is, of course, critical to improving patient care, and that will help us guide the patients in the clinic what to look out for in the future, or what are they specifically at high risk for down the road, based on their age, their treatment, their mutational status, and so forth. So this study is really a collaborative effort. It's by the patients, for the patients, and in partnership with the organization. Really, the participation process is you complete a survey, It's not a very brief survey, as some of you who may have taken it can attest to it, but it is very comprehensive, and that can be completed online, through mail, through a phone call with our team. Anyway, it's easy. You can pause and resume the survey. No travel is required. That question often comes up, so wherever you are, you can do the survey from there, and really asks about your health symptoms, chronic health problems, and so forth. We also request a release of medical record form to get the medical records from your treating institution, so we can capture additional treatment dates and mutational data and so forth. And of course, we maintain confidentiality. We have to abide by all the laws that are involved in such research. So the enrollment method is straightforward. There are many ways. I've provided them here. There is a phone number, there is an email, we have our website and a QR code. So there's the 4 ways you can connect with us, whatever you feel like. We also have our team members in the back, and there is a booth we have with pamphlets, so you can stand up and say hi. So Caroline and Aliza are here. So they make everything happen for us, so please talk to us. And the only limitation right now is it's only for English-speaking population. We do plan to expand to other languages down the road as we enroll more folks. The one thing we do is we give a nominal gift card after completion of the survey to basically, for incentivizing the time spent on completing the survey. So far, just providing a report, we have about 800 folks who have completed the survey with various diseases. From ECDGA, about 205 folks have agreed, and 109 have completed the survey so far. It just takes time and reminders to, of course, get the surveys completed. So the consent and the survey completion lags behind, as you can imagine. But we keep sharing this data through webinars and through conferences and through newsletters as much as possible. But we are always open to answering any questions you might have or any concerns you might have while completing the survey. Eventually, what we hope to do, it's of course an ambitious study because, you need a large sample size. So my target for this is about 400 participants with completed surveys with ECD. And, we want to also include a group of participants without histiocytosis to figure out what is happening uniquely in those individuals with ECD and other diseases. So it is a long-term study, so it's going to take time, but I appreciate everybody who has completed the survey so far. We will be presenting some early results tomorrow from this study, so hopefully they will be released to you as well soon.